we can say on current trends, there'll be X billion people more than there are at the moment. First of all, that may not turn out to be the case because often people have got it wrong. China at the moment is losing population. It was not expected to. India has now become the largest country in the world. That was not predicted even 10 years ago, or it might have been by some, but not seen as likely. So even in a short term, things that were thought to be inevitable in the future suddenly either become not the case or become much less so than was anticipated. But what you're also not taking into account is that many of the kinds of changes that you are quite properly and understandably referring to, the way in which they can be dealt with in the future, in 30, 40 years' time, will largely be by technology that we haven't the faintest idea at the moment what it will consist of. Now, just let me give you an example. It's going back to the beginning of the 20th century. In this country, and I'm sure that the same applies in many other Western countries, 60, 70% of our population were living in the rural areas. Farming required huge numbers of manual workers. So an average farm might have had 30, 40, 50, 100 people bringing in the harvest, all this sort of thing. And when the tractor appeared, the combine harvester appeared, when other things meant that this was no longer going to be necessary, there was a huge prediction of massive rural unemployment, unsustainability. And to some degree, it was true because what happened, a lot of the people moved to the towns or cities or urban areas and started new careers. So when you get these big changes, it's not that they produce either triumph or disaster. The people who are most harmed are those who, when they first feel the impact of these changes, are already in their late middle age, unable to start or contemplate a change of either habitat or lifestyle or career. It's a big problem, it's a challenging problem, but it's not one that affects the whole population.
No, it's interesting you bring up that because part of the reason we have this demographic problem, and like China in particular, is you can sort of point it back to the population bomb, the book where we were like, if we continue on this trajectory, half the world will starve. And it assumed linear progress in agriculture and food production.
I haven't read Malthus, but I believe he predicted the world would come to an end because of the inability to provide the sustenance, the food, the requirements of the billions of people who'd exist in the world. Now, in fact, that's turned out to be complete nonsense.